Hi. Hi. Hello. Okay. So I'd like to confirm that you can hear me. Okay. Okay. So welcome to our class. Today is our sixth class, and this is the advanced level of business English, the business English course. Okay, so let me share my screen so you can see my slides. Okay, so welcome. I am your teacher for this session. My name is Lourdes Uzuriaga, and I am in charge of the advanced level course, especially for business English purposes. And today we are going to talk about how to write formal and cover letters, okay? Especially cover letters because this is something that normally we need to learn when we want to present ourselves to a new job, or maybe someone uh, that could be a client or a supplier. So it's like a very, very formal way to introduce ourselves. So a little bit about me. Maybe you haven't seen our previous classes. I studied industrial engineer, but actually I kind of I'm more involved in international business, especially with technology and education. Part of my experience with English, with business English, is that I lived in Panama for many years, and that allowed me to interact with professionals from different countries because Panama is like a hub for different sectors such as technology, logistics, international business, finance, and insurance. And that's why I had the chance to represent Peru in events like Expo Logistica, the BizFit Panama, and the Cyber Tech Conference. Okay, so and also in Panama, I had the chance to work for a multinational, a technology multinational, where I work in marketing and sales areas, and that allowed me to interact with professionals from different countries, including US. Okay, so I believe we have here, yeah, we have people who is joining our class. Um, Today, after completing our session, you will be able to understand what is a cover letter and how to write it in a proper way, okay? So first of all, let's review a little bit what is a cover letter. So imagine this. You want to introduce yourself to a person or an institution that doesn't know anything about you or your company. Okay, and then maybe you have competition. Maybe there is another companies or professionals who are trying to establish a relationship, a professional relationship with that person of that company. So in a very formal way, they will ask for a cover letter, okay? So in this case, we are going to talk about cover letter for job application purposes, okay? So cover letters are an essential part of a strong job application, okay? Uh, Remember that not everyone pass to the job interview because uh, there may be a lot of people who want that opportunity, that job, and they kind of just have like 3 spots for interviews, and you have like 20 or 30 people, and they need more information, and they also want to know how can you express yourself and how clear you are when you communicate. Okay, so the cover letter is going to show that. Okay, so uh, take into consideration that the cover letter is like the first step to get to the first uh, like goal that would be to classify or to be selected to access to the next level or to the next step, which would be the job interview. Okay, um, a, a good one is going to help you get to that moment, but a bad one can make you look unprofessional and completely ruin your chances of landing a work. Okay, so now, why do you need a cover letter? I believe that there are 5 strong reasons why we should invest in a cover letter, even if they don't ask you for that, because as as you may know or heard, usually people that are successful or that people that can get what they want, they have very strong communication skills. And that also means that you know yourself and you know how to communicate your strengths and the benefits that you can offer to the other part. Okay, so although the cover letter is just a brief, uh, a good one is very strategic. So if you write it well, you can successfully introduce you to the hiring manager, make a strong case why you would be a good fit for the job, prove your desire to work at the company, fill in any missing data that couldn't be included on your resume, that's your CV, and give the hiring manager call to action. Okay, so that puts you in the on the spot. If you can manage to check off those 5 elements, your letter can be compelling, powerful, and also can complement your resume. Okay, so let's explore a little bit about the cover letter. Um, when you present a cover letter, it usually complements your CV. So you have to avoid repeating too much information, and the cover letter has to get to another level. It's like this is the opportunity for you to tell your story, to connect with the reader in a personal level, in an emotional letter. It's not just facts or numbers, okay? So uh, these are the 6 parts of the cover letter. We're going to review it in detail in the next slide. But as you can see, a cover letter is something that is just one page. It's like an executive summary of yourself, okay? So first of all, you have to consider that you really need to know more about you, okay? So we've done a class about the SWOT analysis, and it if you don't know so much about the SWOT analysis, the personal SWOT analysis, I strongly recommend that you go to that class because it's going to help you reflect and have a more clear idea about you and what you can do for others, because mainly people need your services as a professional because of what you can deliver and what you can do, okay, besides what you know, okay. So these are the 6 parts. Like it has a specific structure, so this is going to help you like memorize the order of the parts. And here we're going to review the details. We have 6 parts. The first one is the contact info. So in this part is mainly focused to the HR manager, and it's going to include your name, your number, maybe some social network links, and a brief um, mention about your not experience but your title, or uh, what kind of profession do you have. So that part is very easy. The intro paragraph is like the hook, okay? So uh, I personally consider that the intro paragraph is very important because it's going to influence in the it's going to grab the attention, and it's going to influence in how important or how serious they take your profile, okay? So it has to be it has to generate some kind of impact. Okay, so I strongly recommend that in this intro you can mention some numbers, a percentage or time, or something in money, or maybe savings that you generated, etc., etc. Okay, and here you have to stand from the crowd. Especially don't be ashamed, and don't be too humble, because sometimes people are kind of trying to avoid to talk about how good they are, and you shouldn't take that attitude. In this part, you really have to shine, and that's why you have to reinforce how good and in which situations you are good, okay? And the third part is the hard sell paragraph. So you are going to prove how qualified you are, okay? So use bullet points to highlight your achievements. So in this case, it would be something like, I accomplished that, something like sales, or maybe we hit on the budget, or we did the project on the time frame that we established. So in this case, you are going to highlight something, but with some kind of proof or explanation. Okay. And the fourth part is going to be the research paragraph, and you are learn about your target company. In this part, for example, if you are going to apply to different companies, number 4 should be adapted to each company, okay? And why is that? Because there is something called the cultural fit, okay? And for example, if you are going to apply to a very traditional company, you couldn't be so informal when you talk or when you write, okay? But maybe if you are going to apply to a small company or a family company, and they are kind of more horizontal about how they manage their people. So you are going to adapt that language to the um, culture and the environment that you see about the company. Okay. Also, in this step, you are going to adapt what you say to the sector, to the market, and you kind of try to link your knowledge, your experience, and your strength to what the sector or the business line requires. Okay, so in this part is called the research paragraph, because here you have to mention something about the company, because that person, that HR manager that is going to select you to go to the next part of the process is trying to find something that could connect you to the culture that they already have. So in this part, you're going to project yourself, okay? And then you have the action paragraph. Okay, so you have talked about yourself and about the company, and in this part, you are going to invite the HR manager or the reader of your cover letter to know when you are available, how you are available, what are your expectations, and offer some further explanation or more information about your profile, okay? Because they need to test your interest in that position, okay? And then the sixth part is the sign off. Okay, so you are going to say like something, sincerely regards, best regards, and you're going to close the letter. So, okay. So now that we know the elements of a cover letter, we are going to review how to construct, how to generate this cover letter in 5 steps, okay? So I would like to stop here and ask for any questions that you may have. Maybe something is not so clear before I jump to the next section. Okay, so now that we are clear about this first part, let's talk about the easy steps to write our cover letter. Okay, so this is a simple guide because we want to start from zero, from scratch. Okay, and remember that the main goal of this cover letter is to gain the opportunity to get an interview, a job interview, okay? So step one, and this is with the section about contact information. So you have to be careful here because uh, some people are not so careful about the details, okay? And maybe if you don't manage well some little details, it could affect your application. Okay, for example, uh, you may um, how can I say it? You don't have to suppose some things. Okay, for example, when you talk to a woman in English, you say Miss when she is not married, and you say Mrs. when she is married. So if you are not so sure about the situation of the other person, you should use Mrs. because that's going to help you cover if uh, that case. Sometimes you have names that you are not so sure about if it's a woman or a man. And maybe you say, I don't know, Mrs. Mr. Rachel, and Rachel is a woman, and you are doing it wrong. And if that person is going to read your cover letter, you are starting with like it's not the best way to start a first impression, to have a first impression. Okay. So step two would be find out to whom you are writing. Okay. This is important because sometimes we kind of communicate ourselves as if everybody understand our techniques or our knowledge. Maybe you are an engineer and you are talking about your career or what you want to do in your life, and the the one who's reading your letter is not very technical and they don't understand some terms that you use, and you should think about that because you are the first one who is interested in having a good communication, like achieving something. And sometimes we don't review that. So uh, you should like at least ask for help in your cover letter to some with someone who is not like you. For example, if you finish your cover letter and you think it is perfect, you are wrong because it's perfect. That is perfect for you because you have all the information in your head. That doesn't mean that you explain it the same way in 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 the letter. So you should ask for help from a friend, your girlfriend, or your wife, your husband, to read it and that and ask them to tell you what they understood So you check if the message got the same, like is aligned with what you wanted to communicate, and if it is easy to read, because that's another complication. We sometimes write the same way we think, and that is not the best way, because when we read, we kind of expect that to be more fluid, okay? So you have to put yourself in the hiring manager's shoes for a second. In this part, you have to introduce yourself. Okay, in the first paragraph, begin by telling the employer the position you are applying for. So what do you expect to achieve, get, and how you learn about the opportunity. So where did you find it? If someone sent you the information, or maybe you saw it in a social network or any other portal. And the rest of this paragraph should briefly present basic info about yourself, including the degree, the area of study and expertise, your career goals in terms of how they align with the goals of the company. Okay? So let's jump to step number 3. Sell yourself as a candidate. And that's going to be in the second paragraph. Okay. I use a common mistake that we have is that we don't need to sell ourselves, because we are good, and that means that the people should know that we are good in what we do, and that's not correct. You may be good, but that is not the same as the perception or the positioning that you have with that person, because you may say that you are a lawyer, and you may say that you are an accountant, but how you prove that you are a good lawyer, that you are a good accountant? You should have done something. Maybe if you don't have an experience, you should have proved something in university or in your institute. You had the one of the highest notes in some course, or maybe you were the person in charge of your group, and you help the teacher to communicate or coordinate many things about the course. I don't know. But when you are good, you have something to show. Okay. So in this part, you should respond directly to the job description. You have to describe your previous job experiences, your skills, your abilities, and think about what kind of skills and abilities you should talk about to align with the company's needs. Okay. So to make it easier, you should literally include words and phrases from the job description in your cover letters. Okay, so if they are looking for let's say, account executive, and they include 5 functions that you are going to execute, you should mention that, obviously in other way, but it will be the same idea. You should mention that in your cover letter, so they can relate and connect with what they are looking for. Okay, so step number 4, you have to paint yourself. It's like project. you have to project yourself in the company's future. So remember that when you want to establish a professional relationship, it, it is something that should last. It is something that should be uh, something that you see possibilities to nurture a great professional relationship. So if you don't project with a company, if you don't project yourself with a company, how would they know that you have found at least theoretic, at least as a concept, how would they know that you have found a match with the company? Okay, because if you want to communicate that you are the best candidate to that job, you should have think about it before. And in this part is when you are going to communicate and when you are going to uh, you're going to be very persuasive because you have to stand out. Okay, so to go to the extra mile, do some research about the company, about the past, but especially about the future, because you must work for the future of the company, because you must have this, the best skills, characteristics to give a great service for what a company wants to do in the future. Okay, try to find out what they are doing and why, and this has to be this is connected to the cultural fit part, and also the value fit part. Okay, in a third paragraph, explain how you can fit into that schema and help push the company forward to achieve their goals, and, or at least what you suspect that would be their goals. Okay. And step 5, now that you have presented yourself, that you have sell yourself, you've connected to the company's purpose, values, and future, you have to ask for a response. You have to ask for an action, a decision that they should make about what you are exposing about yourself. Okay, so you're going to employ a call to action and a sign off. Why is call to action? Because you need to produce an emotion that the reader kind of connect with what you said, and you position yourself at the top of their list. Yeah, so you have to inform them that you would love to get interviewed. Tell them that you will be in contact with them in a week if you don't hear back. Thank them for spending the time to read your letter and for the potential opportunity of interviewing with them. Okay, so it's important to not come off as too pushy, because uh, you want to express interest, but you don't want to be too extreme about it. Okay, and here the main goal is to show that you have interest and you want to have conviction. A good sign off will stick in the mind of the hiring manager, so make sure yours has the tone you are trying to convey. Okay, so in these 5 steps, and also the parts that we review, the 6 parts that we review, you are going to use a lot of adjectives, okay? And there are many options, but here I included like main, the most successful adjectives and the ones that are more powerful because are the ones that the hiring manager look for. So as your positive traits, you could mention some of these: adaptable, detail-oriented, diligent, focused, hardworking, efficient, proactive, quality-oriented, responsible, and results-oriented, okay? And these words are when you want to show your positive characteristics, okay? And here, when you have to talk about your skills, here you have 18 options, and we are going to review it now. Analytical, maybe you want to show that you have a strong communication skills, you have creative thinking, especially when the company has to do something for the first time or something new. A critical thinking, if you want to be if you want to go to roles that need analytical profiles. The interpersonal, like when you connect with people and you kind of engage them to work. The language skills, if you speak English very fluently or maybe another language. Leadership is your ability to influence and to manage people. Also management, it is not just people, but also resources, time, and relationships. Maybe multitasking, if you can manage different tasks, organizational, persuasive, okay, and that's something that you just don't, you have, but you also have to show here because all this cover letter is a persuasion skill demonstration. See it that way. Planning skills, problem solving, research skills if it's something very academical, service skills if you're going to manage areas with a high contact or you are going to interact with clients, teamwork skills, technical skills, especially for specialized roles, and writing skills if you're going to focusing advertising or marketing roles, okay? So I'm going to leave you these both skill boxes because I really think that these are the main ones that you should use in your cover letter, and I hope that you could use at least 6 of each, okay? So with that, we have covered what we want to learn today. The cover letter is something that gets better with the practice, okay? So here I've summarized what I've learned from applying to many jobs, applying to different contests, trying to get clients and all of that, because everything here is persuasion. And first of all, you have to believe in your product. And in this case, your product is yourself. And if you don't believe in your product, it's going to be difficult to reflect that in your cover letter. So what I wanted to, what I want you to take from this class is that a cover letter is like a tool, okay? And you are going to make it better if you reflect about yourself, especially your strengths. Your weaknesses are going to come mainly in the interview part, but here you have to expose your strengths mainly. You have to be aware of the details because maybe you think they are not important, but in that moment that that person is going to read your letter, that paper is the only thing that is going to defend you, okay? So it's going to take many hours to make just one paper. You have to be empathetic and try to communicate what they need to hear from you in their way and how they understand the world, okay? And you have to be clear and concise. In this case, like the number of words, is not important. It's the quality of how you communicate with those words, okay? So that will be everything uh, from my side. I don't know if you have any questions that I can help you out. The cover letter exercise is something very exciting for me because it's, it, it is a perfect moment to be very honest with yourself and kind of order your ideas. Yeah? Okay, so thank you very much for connecting to this class. I hope you learn a little bit more about the cover letters, and especially that you apply it to your career or to your entrepreneurial projects, okay? Because this all that we have reviewed here, it is also applicable to getting a new customer, to like applying to a contest, or to convincing someone to help you in your business. Okay, so thank you very much. I hope you had a great time in this class and see you next week. Goodbye.